stand, please?
Yeah, sure.
Because I look like a little doughboy if I sit next to you.
You're a good man. In a fucked up world.
You look fucking good, man. How you feeling, all right?
Yeah, keep it together. I mean, you always get kind of, one of the great things about the road is that just you build up all these antibodies to germs and stuff.
Okay.
So it's like, it's as soon as you get home is when you get sick.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I've been doing all right. So the tour's been going good, energetic.
You've earned it. Well, yeah, fucking after 30 years, I think you would be in the
High level.
Welcome everybody back to Rob's MetalWorks. We are here at Backstage Live in downtown San Antonio, only for one of the biggest and brightest bands of the thrash era. I have with me the legendary voice, the distinctive voice of New York's Overkill, Mr. Bobby Blitz Ellsworth. Sir, it is my honor to have you on our show after all these years.
Good to see you, Rob, man. It's good to be here. Boy, that was some introduction I got there. I'm gonna have a lot to live up to after that.
Yeah, give us your all. But honestly, Blitz, I mean, we've been doing our program for a long, long time, almost 18 years. And every time I've tried to interview you, some clusterfuck monkey wrench happens, and it never went down. Some kind of logistic issue or something with the publicist. It just never happened. So today, my guys and I got together and said, oh, it's finally going down with Blitz. So we're very, very excited.
I tell you, it's like, we'll live today on the premise of sometimes you have to wait for all the things that are good in life.
All right. Yeah, that's exactly right. You're right. And, I think none better time to catch up with you and Overkill after the success of White Devil Armory. Really, I mean, you guys charted in the top 40 with this latest release. It seems like even in the last few years, 5 years, that Overkill is at the height again, reaching a pinnacle again.
It's funny, when I first got, and I've been saying this on stage every night, you may hear this, I first got the email, I thought I was being bullshitted, And then when I realized it was true, I got a hard on, and I haven't lost it since. But I think the beauty of it is that it's sure it's Overkill's tenacity, but it's also a great reflection on the support the scene has. I mean, we support our own. This is our collective club, not their collective club. It's about what we like and what we love as a group, and I'm including those who see us in San Antonio or saw us last night in Houston, or where they see us in Tokyo or Berlin. So I think I think you go in there with that premise, and a lot of people get excited over it, and we surely did, being able to chart as high as 31.
And I think, too, you cannot neglect the fact that you guys are just a hard-working band. You guys are on the road. I mean, you guys are road dogs. You guys are out there in front of the people, not letting the fans forget how significant and the history, but yet at the same time how relevant Overkill still is and can be.
I'll tell you, this has always been the biggest attraction to me, is to be able to get on that stage. That's where you get instantaneous gratification, success, or failure. Now, obviously, with a band that has as much experience as we do in the live theater, we're probably going to succeed more times than we fail. But this is the attraction for me. This is my drug. I love those 90 minutes. So it's not hard to do something you love. It's very simple. If your mind loves it, your body will follow. So I think that's how we've worked it out for this amount of time. So it's hard work, but the other part of it is it doesn't feel like that.
I can't help but to believe you after a 30-year career.
Yeah, I mean, why would you do this if you're not getting rich or loaded? Must love it.
Right. So much has been said about the success of White Devil Armory. Okay, and I think a lot of the emphasis has really been on the music. Yeah. I kind of wanted to stray away from that with this interview and really talk about some of the lyrical content of the record, of which I'm sure that you handle the most of. So let's start with the title, White Devil Army. Talk a little bit about that, and then if you can, maybe provide us like a holistic view of what this record means to you, lyrically.
We need a starting point. There needs to be a thread to start things at. When the riffing begins, you need to verbalize that so that somewhere you get imagery in your head. For instance, on the last record, it was electric. On the record before that, it was the word iron. Armory was the word we were using on this. And I knew it. Didi was all over the word. He was, I'm not going to say he was jamming it down my throat, but every time I turned around, he's going, I really like that word armory. So I know what he's thinking when he's writing now. So this gives us both a commonality to use that one thread. So I just took the word and started messing with it. You know, you add adjectives, you add colors, numbers, more adjectives, things to follow it. And when I wrote, I scratched out White Devil in front of it on a telephone bill, and I said, whoa. And that was as simple as it was. I said, I think we have our thread. It has nothing to do with anything but our thread, so that when he goes back to, well, how do I verbalize this, he's thinking White Devil Armory. So it's creation by us, for us, with regard to that. And obviously it sounds ominous and pretty badass.
And this whole time I thought you were the White Devil.
I mean, it was the first thing I got. You're going to call it that? I said, what does it mean? It doesn't even mean anything to me.
It sounds good, though.
It sounds great. Yeah. You know, and that's the thing. And it isn't creation about kind of sounding good as opposed to always borrowing, you know, creating from, you know, from scratch. So what I did lyrically with the record was to make it a little bit more interesting for myself, was I created the character in the first song. Now, it's not really a concept record. All it is, it's emotional based. It's, you know, there's a couple of social shots in there. But I take that character on a journey, and I created a little story around him. So I suppose it's kind of autobiographical to some degree. That you start off singular. The armorist is singular. He is known to solitude. He is good at what he does. But realizes as he travels down to the bone and pig and bitter pill that things need to change. And by the time he gets to the end of the record, in the name, he's part of a big group and realizes now his value is much more important being a smaller part of a bigger group than just singular in solitude.
I think some of the metal fans feel just like that.
And to some degree. Well, obviously I'm a metal fan.
You just highlighted many fans, young people's lives out there.
Well, you know, and I think that, you know, that's one of the great things about this music, is that there is a connection. You know, I mean, I think that we get each other. You know, that's a cool thing. And I wasn't by any means trying to make a concept here. All I was trying to do, the concept was really what we do. Right. And, you know, whether it's bitter pill and realizing that sometimes you have to swallow your pride to make yourself a better person on the other end, sure. You know, which a lot of people do, and a lot of people within this community of ours. So it was kind of a fun way to write the record, and I suppose that's a very organic and holistic view of
I have to ask, because, you know, throughout the years, I think one of the things that has kept me interested in Overkill is that you guys have never tried to be something that you're not. Where other bands have, okay, yeah. No, we won't name them, but you guys have always kind of maintained this consistency, yet kind of always delivered something new. So now, I mean, you know, through the years we've seen, you know, you guys transition through different guitarists, and Dave and Derek have actually been with the band for a while now. So, I mean, is it still kind of at the heart of it all, the Didi, Bobby show, and you guys can come on in? Or how much have you kind of opened the doors to Derek and Dave?
I mean, that's a great question, and I think to some degree it's two-parted, because, you know, not having an identity crisis is great, I think, you know. I mean, bullshitting yourself is a lot of responsibility and hard fucking work and wasted time if you're bullshitting yourself, right, and not knowing what you are. But I think we always have. And as time passed, this specific lineup has gelled. And I think that the results are in that last trilogy of records we've done. You know, there's something that we have right now that's very reflective of the scene, whether it be Ironbound or White Devil or the Electric Age. Yeah. So their input into this has to be band-like. So the doors are open. I mean, it's not full songs. It has to go through us collectively, because that's the way we're succeeding with these records. I mean, Ron has brought something into the band that is just, I mean, he's a wild horse. And, you know, the beauty of a wild horse is don't put a saddle on the motherfucker. Let him run. So if we have that as our principles, these guys, with their input to the records, is very of a high level.
And I think that the beautiful part about it too is that you and Didi are wise enough to make that call.
I think so. I mean, it's. I think it's.
Allow those guys to do what they do.
It's not something you really want to talk about. It's something that it should be just understood. Somebody asked me, "How do you guys have a lot of band meetings?" I said, "It's usually just a nod and a wink." Understand you. But if you can communicate with people on that level, because you're kind of thinking the same things, I think that you found something that's, genuinely pure. So, I don't have to sit here and explain myself to you for 45 minutes. Obviously, in an interview I do. But, I mean, if I'm working with a cat, he just understands me by looking at me. Man, that's some pretty good communication.
Awesome. Remember, everyone out there, the latest from Overkill is called White Devil Armory, out on E1 Music. It came out on July 22nd. Be sure to go out there, pick it up, download it, get it in your hands. It freaking rocks. So let's talk about what you're doing here in San Antonio. It's a great thing to have you in the Alamo City, man. We love Overkill down here. You guys are doing a run here through the month of September. What kind of lies ahead now for the fall?
Well, you can see that as I talk about the health of this community. We're opportunists. Jersey guys, right. But it's... it's becoming a regular stop again, and that's really good. I mean, sometimes it wasn't here for, or even Texas for that matter, for years on end.
Right.
But now we're popping down here and doing shows on a regular basis, so that's it's necessary. It's again reflective of the scene. I mean, we were back here in November with Creator here, and that was a killer show. And now back again. Now let's make it the regular stop kind of a thing. So it's going to be this run through the States, this month run in the U.S., over to Europe, taking Prong with us. So again, a two-fisted punch. We're adding a Swedish band called Enforcer. We've blocked out the west coast of the U.S. In February. We have another European tour in March. That connects to Japan. South America's chimed in, and so is Australia. So
you're going to be busy.
Yeah, well.
Got to. Christmas is rolling around. Got my gifts for all the kids.
No time to shop.
So, as we get to the end of this interview, Blitz, I don't want to keep you too much longer, man, but we have to talk about, the band's longevity. You've been around for quite a while, and we know, the fans know, your true fans know that, you've kind of hit physically a couple of bumps through the road. Thank God, you've overcome. How long do you see you touring and recording and doing this line of business and fun for yourself?
Part of me wants to say until the physical bump that knocks me out.
Right.
And sometimes I feel like the old fighter. And one of the principles I've lived my life on is there's nothing wrong with getting old, as long as you got good friends to do it with.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, so it's kind of a good thing, and I think that's where that energy comes from. I mean, one of the things I'm most proud of about Overkill is that it wasn't, nobody took the rough edges off of us because time has passed. The edges may have even gotten rougher to some degree with regard to our tenacity, to regard to stage energy, to regard to presentation of a show at a high level. And I think that pride is one of the things that becomes really motivational to continue to do this. So I've never guessed that it was going to be 30 years, so I'll never guess that it's going to be another 1, 2, 5, whatever. As long as I'm enjoying it, I'm going to do it, if I'm physically able.
I distinctly remember a quote of yours saying, "We measure our success in days, not in money."
That's correct.
Well, I mean, geez, it has been a long time, and I mean, and I think back to my youth, and believe it or not, I'm kicking myself mentally because I brought my Taking Over LP. I brought my Taking Over LP with me today. I made a distinct effort to grab it from my room and bring it, and then I left it in the truck. It's not even in here.
I can tell you it could be the funniest heavy metal album cover of all time with the guns out.
But you know what?
Rambo.
And I'm sure you hear it all the time. People say, "Oh, this is my favorite Overkill." That record for me was the one that really kind of solidified your place in my life. So when I talk about you and your legacy and all the great music that you're continuing to produce, of course the production's great now with technology and things like that, but you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, I never wanted to stop. I don't want Overkill to go away.
But doesn't that show a great value in, you know, what we all thought was valuable at the beginning? Yeah. You know, I mean, it's not transcended generations. You know, we're playing to people that are in their teens, but we're also playing to their dads. You know what I'm saying? And that kid in the teens is getting turned on to taking over a field of fire, and the dad has got White Devil Armory in his truck, you know, and that's badass. I mean, that is just badass personified.
Awesome. Blitz, any last words? Anything that I missed? Anything you want to share with the people out there who will see this interview around the world?
Always good to be in San Antonio. Always good to be on the road. White Devil Armory. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time. Go get some Mexican food. Yeah. You need to put on a little weight. Remember, everybody, you saw the man, Bobby Blitz Ellsworth of Overkill, only on Rob's MetalWorks.